I keep hearing people in power say we're going to make mistakes. And while I'm very pro psychological safety, I fear this is a fail fast motto repackaged. And I'm going to use Mark Zuckerberg, the poster child who made this fail fast motto famous, as an example. And I'm picking on Mark because he has been the one to really promote this. The "we're going to make mistakes" initially seems very humble, but the problem is it's never accompanied by what you're doing to mitigate risks. Every time you make a decision in business, there are risks and uncertainties. Risks are what you can predict and have a plan to mitigate, and uncertainties are always going to happen, right? They're things that you can't plan for. But a lot of what we're seeing and who we're seeing it from are making the same mistakes over and over again. Dr. Amy Edmondson is the original researcher behind psychological safety, which is about embracing failure and making an environment where people can learn from their mistakes. But she distinguishes between making basic mistakes and intelligent failures. To make an intelligent failure, you have to be doing something where there's no blueprint. It's never been done before. If you're making mistakes that just have been done before and you're just not putting the care into them, that's different. And she specifically in her book calls out Silicon Valley for promoting the fail fast method with no accountability and without preventing mistakes that have been and can be prevented. And Mark Zuckerberg has a 20-year pattern of making very similar mistakes over time. In his early version of Facebook, FaceMash violated people's privacy by taking their photos without consent. In 2006, he introduced the newsfeed without people's consent, and some people were upset. He got away with it though, and newsfeed became a key feature. In 2007, he got caught taking people's data from when they made purchases on other websites such as Overstock.com and sharing that data with their Facebook friends without their consent. And he says things like, "We've made a lot of mistakes building this feature, but we've made even more with how we've handled them. We simply did a bad job with this release and I apologize for it." He had said in 2003 with the FaceMash mistake, "Issues about violating people's privacy don't seem to be insurmountable, and this is not how I want things to go, and I apologize for any harm done." Well, come 2011, the FTC was investigating him for 8 counts of privacy violations, specifically for sharing people's data that wasn't how they were expecting it to be shared. Facebook settled with the FTC, but then got busted in 2019 for doing the same thing. And the FTC called them out on that they had already settled in 2012. In between those and 2018, we had the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where people's data was being used by political analysts. Third-party apps were harvesting people's data without their consent, and people were afraid it was influencing elections. Most recently, he's been accused by a whistleblower of one of his own former executives that he has been colluding with China for years and using people's data and helping the Chinese Communist Party with their censorship tools. Meta's denied the allegations. All of these other ones have been proven. But this is also pretty recent. Oh shoot, in 2022 I forgot they had another thing of data leak and siphoning information via Instagram and Facebook. Meta's pattern shows lip service without action. And this is what I call the unwritten rule of compliance, where you don't really want to hear what people have to say or to intervene to make things better. And so when you hear these words of "we're going to make mistakes," question the pattern, because you could have a really humble leader who is trying to encourage psychological safety, but the distinguishing factor is, are they planning for risk? Are they learning from mistakes? Or are they doing the same thing over and over again? And make sure when you're criticizing who gets away with things and who doesn't, that you remember that this fella could not be called a DEI hire. If you want to learn how to navigate the unwritten rule of compliance, get on the waiting list for my upcoming book, The Unwritten Rules of Work. I have a free chapter released on a different unwritten rule, on the one of indirect communication, that's also linked in my bio.